All right, welcome back to Heroes and Villains of Literature. I might end up changing that name eventually. I don't know, we'll see where this channel goes, but here we are. The final episode of Dexter New Blood has happened. Sins of the Father. Harrison and Dexter try to live a normal life. That's the full name of the episode. Episode 10. I just want it to be known that this is really only a reaction slash prediction, but more of a reaction video, because I'm actually working on a project that's gonna cover the entirety of the Dexter series from the original series to now, because I want to try to work through what I saw. I also want to say that the finale was only half satisfying to me, and I'll explain why. So, for those of you who've seen the episode, continue watching. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, spoilers, major spoilers, just so you know. If you don't want to know, don't watch. So, the episode starts off where it left off with everyone dealing with the fire that happened at Dexter's cabin. Angela arrives just as Dexter's musing over how nice everyone in the town is, and that there's no fucking way in hell he can teach Harrison the code while living in Iron Lake. Angela shows up and demands to speak with Dexter and let him know that it looks like his cabin was burned down in an arson. Of course, Dexter acts surprised, but he knows Kurt Caldwell burned his shit down, of course, having only killed Kurt Caldwell a few hours prior. So, while they're having that conversation, Harrison, Audrey, and a couple of their friends show up with Coach Logan with some donation clothes to give to Harrison and Dexter because everyone had heard about the fire, which is cool. You know, that's what a good town does. Coach Logan was just a generally good dude anyway. Gives Harrison a Letterman jacket, which as a teenager you vastly appreciate, especially if you're an athlete. So, you know, it just solidifies the bond between Logan and Harrison, which is important later in the episode. So, Harrison and Dexter load the stuff into Dexter's truck and go back to Angela's house to begin making dinner, which is pasta. Flash forward, they're at Angela's house. Dexter and the kids are having fun trying to make dinner. Angela arrives, sends the kids to the store to grab crushed red pepper and Parmesan for the pasta. And as soon as they leave, she draws down on Dexter and arrests him under suspicion of murder of Matt Caldwell. Right? But her main focus is she believes she caught the Bay Harbor butcher. Here's where I have a problem. Okay, it's believable to arrest Dexter under suspicion of murdering Matt Caldwell because she got the letter in the mailbox, a random letter with the screws for Matt's femur, which do have serial numbers in real life, just in case something like that happens. And she found one of those screws at Dexter's cabin, right? That's all fine. Even so, it's all circumstantial evidence at best, and Dexter would beat that. No problem. There's no physical evidence tying him to the murder of Matt Caldwell. So during interrogation, Angela reveals that she believes he killed Matt Caldwell and that she's well aware of the fact that her case is thin at best, and that it probably won't stick, because all she has is a letter and some pins and suspicion. I want to say this hits of woman scorned. She found out he had changed his name, and that was it. She ended up just focusing entirely on him. That's even less believable. I mean, I believe that an angry woman can turn into a forensics expert. I've seen it. But she's a small town cop. You know what I mean? She shouldn't be reaching the conclusions that she has. So, during the interview, she reveals that she also believes that Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher. Now, this is after Dexter explains his way out of the Matt Caldwell thing by name-dropping Kurt and saying that, you know, she had just arrested him, and he's trying to brush off suspicion by framing Dexter, which is exactly what he did. And then her deputy finds the gas truck at Kurt's cabin, right? Because she asked him to bring him in, and finds the fact that it looks like Kurt left in a hurry. That should have been end of story right there. That's all the proof you need. And then, as I said, she reveals her suspicion that he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. And here's where I really have a problem with the story. She has absolutely zero fucking evidence that Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher. And the main thing she has to go off of is the main reason that she should have no fucking idea he's the Bay Harbor Butcher, because it's not linked to the butcher, which is the drug Dexter used on the drug dealers, the ketamine. I'm sure by now most hardcore fans have recognized this plot hole, right? The Bay Harbor Butcher never ever used ketamine. He used M99, which is atropine hydrochloride or something like that. It's a large animal tranquilizer, and it's not ketamine. There's no ketamine in it. So I guess you could explain away this plot hole by saying it was like a mistake on like report filing through Miami Metro, which, okay, maybe if you look back at the original series, they weren't the smartest cast of characters, were they? We had two alcoholics, a neurotic head case, and a power-hungry captain who only did what was in her best interest. And then you had James Dokes, who was probably the best cop in the room until he was framed for the Butcher murders. But doubtful, and here's why. During the Bay Harbor Butcher investigation, Frank Lundy brought up the M99 thing, right? So not only should the M99 being the butcher's drug of choice be in Miami Metro's police reports, but also the FBI reports. No mention of ketamine ever whatsoever. And that was a dead end for even rock star Frank Lundy. Couldn't find out who it was that was getting the M99. They got the list. They went down the list. Nothing led back to Dexter. The only thing they can link to the butcher was some bacteria on a rock that was in the harbor where Dexter kept his boat. So, this small town cop, in the span of a couple weeks, solved a decades-old homicide case that the FBI and Miami Metro Homicide couldn't solve. Now, I wouldn't call Miami Metro a bunch of pushovers because they dealt with multiple serial killers in a very short period of time. So they should have known what they were doing. You know, they solved the ice truck killer. They solved Doomsday. They solved Barrel Girls. Most of that was with Dexter's help, but they still solved them. And the ones they didn't solve were because Dexter got in the way. So they're not stupid. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So it took Angela a couple weeks to solve, you know, a 20-year-old case or a 10-year-old case that multiple agencies couldn't solve. Small town cop, no experience with solving serial murders, and has been unknowingly chasing a serial killer that's been living under her nose for 25 years. So, fails to solve a 2.5-decade serial murder case, but for 25 years, but solves the Bay Harbor butcher in 2 weeks. No. I don't believe it. Not for a second. Based on a name change, the wrong drug, and wheel marks, which even that is circumstantial. It doesn't link anything to Dexter. Right? Sure, he got ketamine for his goat. That was sick. He could prove that. And the only way she linked Dexter to the Bay Harbor butcher through the wheel mark and the ketamine was through a picture. Right? The butcher put needles in the neck, and some drug dealer died with needles in the neck, and Dexter used to live in Miami. Okay, that's enough for suspicion, but that's not enough to arrest or convict. That's just a hunch. So that whole process was rushed. I think that could have been drawn out into a whole nother season. As far as the rest of the episode, I think it was well done. Dexter dying by Harrison's hands, perfect. Harrison's reasons for killing Dexter, perfect. Because by Dexter's code, he should be on the list. He should be a victim. He's a murderer, right? But Dexter can't very well kill himself. That's why at least 3 times throughout the entirety of Dexter, he's been ready to give up and take a bullet or go to jail, right? He was going to let Dokes bring him in before Lila killed him. He was going to let Deborah kill him in that storage container. He knew he was a monster, and that's why he was okay with Harrison killing him. That leaves it open for a Harrison spinoff, because I really want to see the aftermath. Like, how big does this become? Or did Dexter ensure that the Bay Harbor butcher case being solved would take the back burner to a massive serial killer being discovered in Iron Lake and Kirk Caldwell and the runaway killings? That's why he told Angela. You know what I mean? Like, okay, she called everyone in for the Kirk Caldwell case, but only called Angel Batista for Dexter. And now Dexter's dead. So there's no way to prove he was actually the Bay Harbor butcher. So what's the aftermath, right? Does Harrison go on to kill more? Was Dexter his first kill? Will that be his last kill? We don't know. All of that was done perfectly, albeit a little rushed. Yeah, I just have a real big problem with him with how his reveal of being the Bay Harbor Butcher came about. Like, if anything, Angela should have been working with Angel Batista the whole time to try to figure it out before arresting Dexter. But yeah, my prediction is that the Kurt Caldwell runaway killing case is going to take precedence over Dexter's arrest, because now that he's dead, there is no way to prove that not only was he the Bay Harbor Butcher, but that he killed Matt Caldwell. Now, with the file Angel has, it's possible to link Dexter to the Bay Harbor Butcher killings and Matt Caldwell. And the disappearance of Kurt Caldwell will kind of lend credence to that, because the Butcher was well known to be a person who killed killers and criminals, career criminals. But we'll have to see. I don't think there's a shot now, but that's why I want to see the aftermath. So like I said, I'm going to be making a video, and that's going to be covered in it. It's going to cover the entirety of Dexter and how we got to this point. And yeah, I'm going to cover that horrible season 9 too. So, until that's released, thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed Dexter New Blood as much as I did. And let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that hoo-ha. You know what I mean? See you later.